Um, but yeah, that's like it reminded me of one passage in Genesis that I thought was like really cool that should be a challenge for us. Um, that it was talking about Jacob and how he had to work those 7 years for Rachel. And in Genesis 31:40, it says, "Thus I was, by day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes." Like, he's had the heat, the frost, and he didn't get enough sleep. Like, work was really, really hard for him. Like, we think that's a pretty terrible job. That would seem like it just takes forever. But just 2 chapters before that, in Genesis 29:20, it says, "So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her." And I just
Mm,
think that's awesome. Like, this really hard, difficult work becomes something that's like, man, it just goes through in a few days because of this great love. And what if that was our love for God? Just saying,
mm,
like, I know that He's the goal for this work, that I love Him. I want to worship Him. This is something that He enjoys. It brings a smile to His face. So, like, even though this is super hard and I hate it, I love God, and so I rejoice in it. Um, and I think that's just a big thing for us to be challenged with, to be able to see the hard parts, like you said, of the fall, that affects our work, that it's become by the sweat of our brow. And when we see these hard parts, that should make us hate sin all the more. Um, but to rejoice in how God is redeeming that and how we get to do it with Him, through Him, and for Him. And I think that's just really, really big for us if we can grasp that.
yeah. Yeah, and it even points to this picture of heaven. If that was how it was for Jacob because of his love, for
Mm.
Rachel, how much more in heaven, our love for God.
Yeah.
People ask, are we going to be working in heaven sometimes? And I don't think it's something to speculate on. I think it's very obvious because he created us to work before
Hmm.
the fall. It images him. We will image him in heaven, and we will work,
Mm.
and it will be like that. Eternity is gonna feel like 2 days, but it's gonna
Yeah.
go on forever with
Hmm.
with this joy and delight. And the cool thing is there won't be that frost in the night and the
Yeah.
scorching heat
Uh-huh.
in the day.
Yeah.
It'll be the best conditions to work. It'll
Yeah.
it'll be strengthening to us instead of taking strength away. It
Hmm.
won't be on survival or anything. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sweet thing to look forward to, and to worship the Lord now, knowing that work is only going to get better, right? And
Yeah.
but that it's already can be such a sweet thing in Christ. Again, that eternally meaningless when we are outside of Christ, not doing it in Him, but so meaningful when it's in Him and through Him and with Him, and
Mm.
unto eternity when we get to do that without all the hardships alongside it, which will be nice because we do
Yeah, and
face
I
this.
think I think it's tainted, for people because we're so used to how work is now.
Yeah.
And you can't really imagine how it's going to be. Like, if you take how work is now and put it towards eternity, then it's
Mm.
going to seem terrible,
Yeah.
But that's not how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And
I think
yeah,
it even talks about that, like in Revelation 14:13, where it says that that the saints will rest from their labors, um, and that labors is like labors used over and over again. Talk about kind of the negative aspects of work, and so we can't really hold those two together too often because it's so linked with all the bad stuff because of sin. But to see just set free from all the problems of sin, like that's a pretty sweet thing that we will get to. Yeah, get to worship the Lord and enjoy Him through our work, through reigning with Him, like He gave us in the beginning to reign over the world, um, and we get to reign with Him again in greater fullness.
that's really interesting connection because one of these artists I like to listen to, Strahan, he talks about the gardener's throne and
Mm,
this aspect where God is working and tending the garden of the world and people's hearts with this skill and
mm,
desiring to bring beauty and flourishing. But it's a gardener's throne in the sense that he's working like that, but also reigning as king.
mm,
And so you have this guy working, and like maybe this picture of king is this one who doesn't work at all, but
yeah.
he's a gardener and the king, and he's
Mm,
he's working but also sovereignly reigning. And I
mm,
think even that projects a picture to how it'll be in heaven. The people, the Christians maybe who don't have the job they want here and don't like it, in heaven they're going to be reigning. They're going to be working in a position of authority.
Hmm.
And that's going to be awesome. Just going
Yeah.
from, maybe a lowly position on earth according to the world's standards and being raised up in Christ to be like him, a gardener and a king or
Yeah.
queen.